So my package arrived from 4Crawler Off-Road. That's their thing. It's 4crawler.com/4x4/for sale. And it's from my 1992 Toyota pickup truck, pick-em-up truck. This is a diesel Hilux, but it's the same for the for all the pickups. And what I got is 3-inch longer than stock rear shackles for my rear shocks, times 1 for each side. And I got the independent front suspension lift. I don't want to call them pucks, but lift things. These are 1 1/2 inches thick. So those go between the top control arm and the upper ball joint on the front end. That's those guys, plus 4 grade 8 bolts to go with each side. Then I have the front differential, the independent front suspension diff drop, and the front differential diff drop. The plastic blocks are to drop the torsion bar, which I actually just took off completely. And then the aluminum pucks are to drop the front differential 2 side mounts, leaving the front mount intact, so it'll just pivot down on the front mount. And then this last piece is to lengthen the rear brake proportioning valve. So we'll see how that all fits together. Okay, so this is a bit of before measurement. So the right rear tire body height is 36 inches, 3 foot and a quarter. 36 1/4 inches. The front right fender height is 36 1/4. The left front is 36 1/2 on this one. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's what it is. And on the left rear, it is 35 3/4. So not even 36. Odd. Those are the readings, however, so we'll see what we get when we're done. Okay, so I've got the rear end jacked up on my jackall in the hitch. And I've got a jack stand under each axle. So I have all the stress off the shocks, or these brackets. At this point in time, virtually nothing on it. So I already popped the nuts off of this side. It just came right off. No issue there, wasn't hard. And I'm going to pound these brackets out and check them out. Okay, they just came right out. No issues at all. It wasn't actually hard. I noticed that when I did take it out and finally released this, had a tiny bit of spring pressure. It just popped up there. It's not much to worry about. I'll just have to jack the truck up on the jackall 1 more notch, and that'll put that in the correct position. So if we compare the old to the new, here's the old one, here's the new one. So you can see the difference in lengths, and we'll just see. Yeah, and they are 3 inches longer. That should give me about 1.5 inches because it's on the far end and the axle's in the center. So that should give me 1.5 inches of lift overall. That's what I'm hoping for. Okay. Okay, so what's happened? Excuse me. The bolts that were shipped with the bracket. So you can see now that this bolt diameter is much too small. and I don't have a big enough bolt to go with it, and plus it's much too long. So what I did is I took the old bracket. This was the old bracket, that was the pin. I pressed the pin out. Now I'm going to drill a larger hole in this side of this bracket, push the old pin back through again. And then I just took a piece of galvanized water pipe and I cut off a thin slice off the end, and I had to drill it out. It'll fit over here as a little washer, and it'll make up the difference between the thickness of this plate and the thickness of the old plate. So there'll be the exact same amount of crush on the bushings as there was before. Okay, so here's the two new bolts that were shipped with the thing. That's the top one. This is for the shocks. This is the one that's too small. This is the size that I need, which is actually the same size as the top. So first thing I'm going to have to do is cut off these two ears that this one nicely welded on there, because once I press this through, I'll have no need for these ears anymore. Okay, so I ground the ears out of the way. They just have to be out of the way of this this round ridge on here, so that when the ridge sits, it sits flush. So that's enough ground up material. And now I have to drill the hole big enough to allow this piece to slide through. That's my next step. Okay, now I just have to press this pin in here. And we're good. The trick is to press it through nice and straight. Okay, and we take it up to 10, 11 tons of pressure. That's definitely seated. There we go. All pressed in, ready to go. Then I'll slide this ring on here. This ring will take up the difference in space between the new bracket, which is substantially thicker than the old bracket, so that the squeeze on the bushing will stay exactly the same. I just got to reattach shock absorbers. I already did the one on the other side. Just got to redo this one. Okay, so there's the new rear shackle installed. Here's what the old one would have looked like. Rotating about the same, so there's the difference. So you definitely got the 3 inches of extra travel. What difference does it make? Oh, and I'm going to buy new bushings. I'm going to have to take this apart again. Now that I'm all done all that crap, put new bushings in. Because, yeah, they're just a little bit on the short. I should have done that when I did the whole job. Okay, so let's measure the fender height and see what I gained. 37 and Just over a half and below 3/4. The front's probably the same, which is 36 and just under a half. And then the other side is 37 and between 1/4 and a half. So there's a 1/2 inch difference between the two sides for some reason. And the front is a 36 and between a half and 3/4, 36 and 3/4. Okay.